Hey guys, it's Mr. Willman here. I'm just going to make a quick video about how to solve multi-step equations. I'm hoping that after you watch this video, you can successfully solve some of the equations that we posted online and check with the answer key. So, without further ado, let's go over a couple examples together. Whenever we are solving equations, our goal is to get x alone. So given this example 1, we want to get x alone. If you remember way back to the fall, whenever we were given something like this in blue, the thing that we wanted to do first was to distribute. So I'm going to distribute. Remember, this is kind of like our UPS truck. He's going to deliver a package to each thing inside of the parentheses. So I need to do a 3 times a 2x. So 3 times 2x. And then I got to do a 3 times 4. And on the right, I still got my 24, okay? On the left, when you do 3 times 2x, you'll get a 6x plus 12 would equal 24, okay? When we get to this point right here, this is kind of what we did last week, two-step equations. From here, the first thing we got to do, we want to get this 6x by itself. The number right next to x, we want to try to save that for last in almost all cases. So if we want to get that 6x by itself, we got to move this plus 12 to the other side. And again, how do you move stuff in math? You always got to do the opposite. So the opposite of a plus 12 would be a minus 12. You can't just do it to that left side. Remember, an equation is kind of like a balance beam. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So on the left, I have a 6x still. I have a plus 12 and a minus 12. That's going to be a 0. If you want to put 0 here, go for it. But it'll be a little cleaner if we don't write that. And on the right, 24 minus 12 is 12. So now we got 6 times x would equal 12. How do we get the x by itself? So it just says x equals something. We have to do the opposite of 6 times x. So we have to divide by 6. 6x divided by 6. Any number divided by itself is always 1. So we can either write 1x or just x. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Our final answer is x equals 2. Going back to our original problem, this must mean that x has to be a 2 for this to be true. Let's check. So I'm going to do in purple, I'm going to check. Let's do 3 times 2x, but instead of x being x, it's actually a 2. And then plus 4. If that equals 24, then we are correct. If we follow order of operations, 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 4 will give us 8, and 8 times 3 is 24. So yes, we are correct. X equals 2. Let's check out example 2. Let's again start by distributing. So 4 times 3x plus 4 times 5 equals 32. On the left, we're going to have 12x plus 20. 12x plus 20 equals 32. Again, I want to get x by itself. If x has a number next to it, like it does in this case, Save him for last in almost all cases. So if I want to get 12x by itself, I got to move that 20 to the other side. The opposite of plus 20 is minus 20. So I have a 12x on the left. 20 minus 20 is 0. On the right, it's 32 minus 20, which is 12. Now you got to think, what do I have to do to both sides to make that 12x become 1x? And the answer here is not minus 11. You got to do the opposite of 12x. What does 12x mean? It means multiply. You got to do the opposite of multiply by 12. You need to divide by 12. So 12x divided by 12 is 1x, or just x. And on the right, 12 divided by 12 is 1. So x equals 1. Let's check that answer. I'm going to check. I'm going to write the original problem, but instead of putting in x, I'm going to put a 1 there, because that's what I think it is. If that equals 32, we are correct. We can move on. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 5 is 8. And 8 times 4 is, hey, 32. We are correct. Our answer of x equal 1 does work, okay? So I'm hoping we kind of remember some of these rules, like distributing, from when we looked at that a couple units ago. From there, we're just going to use our two-step equation rules and move on, okay? Okay, we got one more scenario to talk about. So I'm going to erase this, and then I'll put up a couple problems for us to do. Okay, let's say we were given this equation, and we were asked to solve for x. 3x plus 4 plus 2x would equal 15, okay? So this looks a little different than the last examples. All we're given here is 4 terms on the left and 1 number on the right. I want to know what x has to equal in order for that left side to equal 15, okay? So if you remember back to last fall, I think it was October or November, we did something called simplifying expressions. And what we did is we combined like terms. And if you remember what that means, that basically means you need to combine things together that are essentially the same. So looking here, what numbers or terms are like terms? Well, I remember that anything with an x, those are like terms. These both have an x, a 3x and a 2x. So I'm going to combine those to become positive 5x. I also see a 4 and a positive 1. So those are positive 5. And that's going to equal 15, okay? So all we did is kind of clean up by combining like terms. Okay, we want to solve for x. We want to get this 5x by itself. So I need to get rid of this. How do you get rid of a plus 5? Gotta subtract it. So I'm going to get, on the left side, my 5x, and on the right side, I'm going to get 10. So now I know that 5 times a number, x, will equal 10. I want to get this x by itself. I need to do the opposite of multiply. So I need to divide both sides by 5. And I'm going to get 5x divided by 5 is just x, or 1x, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. I bet if I put in a 2 for x, I bet my equation will be true. I'm going to erase these x's and put a 5. Oops, we'll make that a little smaller. I'm going to erase the x and put a 5 there and see if this is true. Oops, excuse me, not 5, 2. Sorry guys, Mr. Willman making all sorts of mistakes. Let's see, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 2 times 2 is 4 is 14. Plus 1 is, 15. We're correct. That answer works. Awesome. Let's try one more before you guys practice on your own, okay? It's going to be the same type. Let's try this. Let's try x plus 7. So we have x plus 7 plus 2x plus 1 equals 17. I want to find what x is. So again, let's combine like terms. Combine all of your x's together, all of the x to the first powers. So x and 2x. Before you combine those, you got to remember, how many is x? Is it 3x, 2x, 1x? If there's no number in the front, you got to remember that there's actually an imaginary 1 here. We don't write it because we're lazy. So if I take 1x plus 2x, I get 3x. If I take this positive 7 and the positive 1, I get positive 8. And on the right, I'm hoping I can get that to equal 17. So again, we want to solve for x. We want to get x by itself. Right now, x has a buddy, 3. We want to get that by itself. You want to do the opposite of this 8. And the opposite of a plus 8 is a minus 8. So on the left, we got 3x. Positive 8 minus 8 is 0. On the right, 17 minus 8 is 9. Okay, so 3 times a number equals 9. You need to do the opposite of 3 times x. The opposite of multiply would be divide by 3. If you want to put a little divide here, you go for it. You don't have to though. That just might help some of us out. And that's going to give us an x on the left, or 1x, either one, and 9 divided by 3 equals 3. Let's check that answer one more time to see if we're right. If I put in a 3 for all of these x's, let's see what I get. Got a 3 there and a 3 here. So 3 plus 7 is 10. And a 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. And we know that 10 plus 7 equals 17. We are correct, okay? So I'm hoping that after doing these examples with you guys, I'm hoping that you can see how this is really related to what we have talked about a couple of units ago. And the only new thing essentially is kind of combining it together with what we currently know about solving equations. So give the worksheet a try that we posted on our Google site. There is also an answer key. And as always, email your teacher. Let one of us know if you have questions along the way. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.